Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Dana Haggard, Professor of Management and curator of this video on improving team effectiveness. There's a lot to cover when it comes to teams, so let's get started. Merriam-Webster defines teams as a group of people working together on a task. That's about as basic a definition as one can get. However, it does lack a few important details. As the balanced careers description adds, the group is not only working together, but the group of people organized to work together do so both interdependently and cooperatively to accomplish a purpose or goal. The fact that the members of the team are interdependent sets a team apart from simply a group of people who work together. Interdependence means that they rely on each other in order to be able to do their own jobs. Sports teams are often used as an example because team sports require performance from each individual player in order for the team to succeed. Wetton and Cameron go on to add that team members' behaviors affect one another through their interactions and that the group sees themselves as a unique entity. Membership in this unique entity also contributes to an individual's sense of identity. As can be seen in any team sports league, not all teams perform with equal effectiveness. In order for a team to be considered highly effective, it needs to have the following characteristics. First, the team members must trust one another. Next, the members must communicate supportively and effectively with one another and handle conflicts constructively. Whenever multiple people work together, there will be disagreements, and the skills with which these disagreements are handled will be vital to the success of the team. Highly effective teams are also mission-oriented. They are clear in their individual roles, their collective goals, and the goal achievement process. And the best teams can operate effectively with or without a formal leader because each person understands their own role and how they contribute to the achievement of the collective goal. Teams seem to have taken over as the organizational structure of choice, and there are several good reasons for why companies decide to implement team-based work. First, using teams helps management to democratize their organizations and increase employee motivation. Teams can help meet employees' need for affiliation, and they allow for flexibility and responsiveness when companies are required to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. Teams allow for consideration of multiple perspectives and the interplay of ideas which lead to innovation. And teams can help align the goals of the individual worker with the goals of the organization. All of these are great reasons for using team-based structures, but teams are not perfect and are better for some contexts than others. So before deciding if teams are right for your situation, you should consider whether or not a team is truly needed. Teams do tend to be slower to make decisions and to act than individuals. Remember from the video on delegation about when you should involve a team versus an individual. Teams have the ability to enhance organizational performance, but in order to do so, they must be appropriate for the task or project, and they need to possess the characteristics of a highly effective work team. If you want to make sure that your team is operating as effectively as possible, it can be necessary to do a little troubleshooting of the team dynamic, as well as of your own team development skills. Here are a few scales that can be used to measure the effectiveness of a team and whether team building is necessary. And the last link is a scale that measures your own team development skills. Teams can show a range of effectiveness from deeply dysfunctional and ineffective to highly adaptive and effective, anywhere in between. The level and source of a team's ineffectiveness is not always obvious, so it is good to try to be as objective as possible when looking at what the team members, including you, can do differently in order to improve the team's overall performance. There are many different actions that individuals can take to improve the effectiveness of any team in which they are involved. It is important to realize that you do not have to be the team leader in order to make a significant positive contribution to the improved effectiveness of a team. Here is a list of skills that are associated with improved team effectiveness, and they can be demonstrated by any member of the group. First, understand the team development process. Recognize the stages and how to help the team progress through each of the stages. Recognize and understand the potential roles individuals play in teams and how to encourage or discourage behaviors accordingly. Provide constructive and appropriately timed feedback. And last, but certainly not least, be a credible and trustworthy colleague who can articulate a clear and inspirational goal. While articulating an inspirational goal, is more associated with being a leader than a member. Regardless of your rank, you should work to be a credible and trustworthy colleague and to be clear and supportive in your communications. For the rest of this video, we will discuss the team development process, and we will save the discussion of the remaining items on this list for another video or videos. Most models of team development actually start with the forming stage. However, I am a big believer in being properly prepared and in performing one's due diligence before taking action. So in my view, the team development process should begin with preparation so that you give yourself and your team a solid foundation upon which you can build. To that end, once you have decided that you want to utilize a team, whether it is for a specific short-term objective or if it is a new and permanent change in the organization's internal structure, it is absolutely vital that you create a goal statement or mission statement for the team. Some people also use the term charge to describe the purpose and goal of the team. Without a clear idea of the goal to be achieved or the action to be taken, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to measure whether or not the team is being successful. The lack of clarity will also lead to wasted time and subsequently to frustration on the part of the members. It should also be clear within this statement the level of autonomy and the level of authority the team will have. The charge or mission statement should be written down and shared not only with the team members at the initial team meeting, but also with any person or group within the organization that will be interacting with the team. The purpose or goal of the team should influence the size of the team, as well as the composition of the team. If solution generation or innovation is the desired goal, then the team should be highly diverse, not only in the knowledge, skills, and abilities represented by each member, but also in the members' perspectives and experiences. If the goal of the team is implementing a decision or a new strategy that has already been determined, the team should be smaller, as smaller groups can work more quickly than larger groups. Jeff Bezos has a 2-pizza rule. No team should be larger than what can be fed by 2 large pizzas. Another issue that must be addressed in the preparation stage is how will people be selected for the team. Some people will need to be a member of the team because of the position they hold within the organization and the power and authority that they have to get things done. Others will be needed for their expertise or for their alternative perspectives. Once you have the required core team members, how will you round out the rest of the team? Will you ask for volunteers or nominees, or will the members be appointed? Or would some combination of all of the above be appropriate? Are there people who are known for working well in teams, and others that have a reputation of making meetings social events or torture sessions? The team's ability to perform will not only depend on their members' contributions, but also on those members' ability to work with one another. Think about all of the concepts we have covered in class up to this point: self-awareness, self-efficacy, personality, communication skills, conflict and influence approaches, just to name a few. How would each of those affect the ability of a person to work successfully as a member of a team? How will you identify people who have the necessary technical as well as interpersonal skills to work successfully in a team? Once properly prepared, the next step is to bring the team members together. The forming stage of the team development process involves bringing together the members either in person or virtually, and often this is considered the first step. The team is given its charge or mission statement, they are informed of their boundaries, and they are introduced to their fellow team members. This is often done in a kickoff meeting. The forming stage is not over with a single meeting and continues as team members meet and get to know each other and start forming interpersonal relationships. It is also when the team starts to see itself as an integrated and cohesive unit and as a unique entity with team membership seen as part of one's identity. Typical behaviors during the early part of the forming stage are silence, self-consciousness, dependence, superficiality, and mild discomfort. However, the degree to which team members are already familiar with one another will influence how long the awkwardness lasts, because the primary objective of this stage is helping team members become comfortable with one another on an interpersonal level. So what can team members do to make progress in the forming stage? First, they can introduce themselves to members on the team they don't already know. Taking the initiative to introduce yourself to others can help relieve their stress, because it is much easier to be on the receiving end of an introduction than on the initiating end. Be prepared to answer questions about yourself so that self-disclosure doesn't seem so uncomfortable. Exercise your emotional intelligence to recognize which members might need extra attention to feel part of the team and which ones seem to be assimilating quickly so you know where to focus your efforts. Cultural competence also plays an important role at this stage, as differences in cultural backgrounds will likely influence how long it takes to develop a team identity and for members to become comfortable with one another. As a side note, when bringing team members together for the first time, it is not uncommon for managers to start with an icebreaker or some sort of team-building exercise. I, for one, do not enjoy artificial team-building exercises like trust falls and share sticks around a fire. I personally am more comfortable getting to know people by having conversations with them or by working together to solve a real problem. So I would react better to an environment in which conversations with the other team members is encouraged and facilitated in a relaxed manner. It's a good idea to think about the individuals on the team and think about how they might view a team-building activity before forcing it on them. Some people love them in all their shapes and sizes, and some people hate them. So think about the cost-benefit of using any particular method before requiring it. If you are a team leader at this stage, you should do all of the things that I mentioned that a member can do. Plus, as the team leader, people will be looking to you to provide clarity of direction on the team's purpose and structure. That clarity will help the team members see how they fit into the big picture and how they are expected to contribute. It will also save time and frustration by providing a way to pull folks back into focus when work conversations go off topic. Although we will talk about each stage as if it immediately preceded the next, and that there are clear transitions, remember that it is possible for teams to cycle through each stage multiple times as the membership of the team changes or if the mission or charge of the team changes. It is also a process with blurry lines between stages. The next stage in the team development process is called norming. This is when unspoken as well as spoken rules about acceptable behavior start to emerge. Norms are accepted standards of behavior or accepted ways of doing things that most people in a group agree with. Norms exist at the individual level as well as in all size groups, from smaller ones like families and work teams to larger ones like states or countries. Team norms help create cohesion and unity as well as enhance the ability of members to collaborate with one another. Typical behaviors during the early norming stage include cooperativeness, conformity to expectations, and ignoring disagreements. Once members are comfortable enough with one another as people, then they can move on to the business of setting up the team structure. This is done through several desired actions. First, by defining the roles and responsibilities of the team members. Each member is expected to serve a unique function within the team, and this function is made clear by defining each member's roles and responsibilities. In other words, in this stage, the team is concerned with setting expectations for each member in particular, as well as what the team expects in general from all its members. In this stage, teams should also determine the characteristics of the team decision-making process. In other words, before having to make significant decisions, team members should agree on how decisions will be made. Will a simple majority decide, or is consensus desirable? All of the previously mentioned skills are still important, but this stage has a tendency to highlight supportive communication, motivation, empowerment, and critical thinking skills. The key leader tasks in this stage are first, to provide supportive feedback as the team figures out who will play what role and what will be considered standard operating behavior. Second, to foster team member commitment to achieving the team goal. And third, to guard against groupthink. Groupthink is when a group of people come to an artificial consensus. In other words, the group appears on the surface to all agree, but for many potential reasons, they do not express the disagreement they might feel. For example, there might be peer pressure from the rest of the group to achieve agreement, or a person might disagree but not be very vocal. Or there may be some members who are highly agreeable and fear that disagreement will make them seem disagreeable. Groupthink is a result of dysfunctional agreement, and so creating norms regarding the necessity of functional conflict are important. A common formal method of preventing groupthink is for leaders to designate a devil's advocate. However, members can volunteer to play the role or ask for one or two members to serve as devil's advocate if one is not formally appointed. However, it is important to make sure that people understand that playing devil's advocate is just intended to prevent groupthink and not intended to just be a disagreeable person. Think about the concepts we have covered in this class and how differences in people can lead to either facilitating or hindering the norming process. As we have mentioned in earlier lectures, conflict is a normal, necessary, and unavoidable part of life. When it comes to team development, the stage that is characterized by expressing differences and disagreements is called storming. Typical behaviors during the early storming stage include coalition formation, competition between members, and challenging others' points of view. In storming, the desired primary actions are learning to manage conflict constructively, recognizing acceptable expressions of individuality, and prioritizing collaborative processes in which the members place an emphasis on win-win solutions. As you would expect, conflict management skills are very important in this stage of the team's development, not only for the leader, but also for the members. As a reminder, supportive communication, keeping the focus on the problem and not the person, matching conflict management style to the situation, and preparing for the proper use of influence tactics are important in keeping the inevitable conflict constructive. Other skills highlighted in this stage are problem solving and stress management, as well as knowledge of personality differences. In this stage, extroverts can often be louder than introverts, so be sure that everyone is heard. Disagreements regarding tasks are quite common and can contribute to improved outcomes for the team if those involved focus on solving the problem and not on winning an argument. Other reasons for disagreement can include individuals wanting to maintain their individuality while being a team member. They don't want to sacrifice who they are or their personal identity, so it is important for these members to have acceptable ways to express their individuality without interfering with the team's ability to operate effectively. Encouraging the team to prioritize collaboration and to seek win-win solutions is also a very important step in this process. The key leader tasks in this stage are focusing on process improvement, recognizing team achievements, and encouraging win-win relationships. Again, while these tasks are leader-focused tasks, they can also be performed by team members. Performing usually follows storming, although if there are changes in team membership as a result of storming, the team may regress to forming or norming before progressing back through storming to performing. The performing stage is where the team has worked out the issues of how to get work done and proceed to getting it done and getting it done well. The team works efficiently and effectively to achieve its goals and accomplish its mission. Typical behaviors seen in this stage are expressions of mutual trust, commitment to the team, mutual training and development, and innovation. The primary desired action in this stage is exceeding normal performance expectations. Skills highlighted by this stage are empowerment, motivation, and I would add delegation. The key leader tasks are to support member ideas, arrange for their implementation, and encourage and support extraordinary performance. While members might not have the power and authority to implement ideas, they can offer encouragement and support of member ideas and extraordinary performance. You don't have to be an official formal leader to recognize high performance and reward it, even if it is just with a verbal congratulation. In many models of team development, this is considered the final stage. This is especially true when the team is a standing or permanent team. The team may cycle back and forth through the stages as the team members change over time, but the idea is that performing is the desired end state. However, for teams with a finite mission, once that mission has been accomplished, the team will adjourn or disband. The final stage of team development for a project-based or temporary team is adjourning. The desired primary activities for the adjournment stage are celebrating successes, reflecting on the processes and project to recognize lessons learned and what can be improved in the future, and then making sure that everything has been properly documented for future teams who might need the information. Skills highlighted in this stage are similar to those highlighted in the very first stage: self-awareness, self-disclosure, emotional intelligence, and supportive communication. The key leader task in this stage is providing an opportunity for expression and reflection by the team members, and of course, to ensure that all relevant information is documented for the future. A final team meeting is just as important as the kickoff meeting. At this meeting, you should give each member the opportunity to voice their thoughts and observations, and the opportunity to say their goodbyes to team members that they will no longer be interacting with on a regular basis. And now some questions for self-reflection. What has been your general experience with teams? Think back to a team of which you have been a member. What preparation was done before the team was formed? When you join a new group, what is your initial reaction to meeting the other members? How might the dynamic of a team change when a new member is added to a standing team? Have you ever been part of a team that got stuck in one of the stages? Which stage was it? Looking back on your experiences with teams, what could you have done that might have improved the team's effectiveness? How would gaining a reputation for being a great team member affect your power? How might personality and values impact how a person interacts within a team? This concludes the first video on improving team effectiveness and specifically the team development process. I hope you found the information useful and interesting. If you have any questions about topics from this video, please post them to the Student Questions Discussion Board in Blackboard. Chances are, if you have a question, another student has that question too. If you are intellectually curious and would like to learn more, please stay tuned for the sources and additional resources for this video. Thank you for watching.